I was very happy when we lived in Orem, Utah. There was many happy memories there for the kids and myself. I've got my bedroom wall lined with pictures that Steve put up for me, and mostly of our family. And Debbie has told me on several occasions that each picture brings back a memory for her. And I feel the same way. But there's a lot of memories which mean a lot to me. Like I said, money was scarce, and so when Christmas rolled around, we always worried, Ray and I, are we going to be able to get all of our kids a Christmas present? I remember one Christmas that, maybe I ought to back up a little bit. Ace and Lamont and Ray and his dad bought a 1,500-acre ranch in Mighton, Utah, and the kids loved to go there. And Brett had we bought a pony off of the guy. He raised them. They weren't the Shetland ponies. They were bigger. I'm trying to think what
Welsh pony.
Welsh. They were a Welsh pony is what it was, and he had 3 or 4 there that he would sell. And this one little Welsh pony, Brett fell in love with, and it had a crippled foot that it didn't walk. The foot turned in a little bit, but he was still rideable. And he said that that's one he wanted. And I said, well, are you sure, Brett? Because, you know, his foot could get worse or something. And no, that's the one he wanted. And so we got him that pony. There was a horse that came with the ranch. A guy just wanted to leave it there, gave it to us. And it was a big horse. I can't think of the name of it right now.
Quarter horse.
The what?
Quarter horse.
Quarter horse. And anyway, we gave that to Ray and Mike. So we knew we had to find Debbie some kind of a horse. And my kids are also soft-hearted, just like Brett taking the little crippled pony. And we saw this, there was an ad in the paper that this horse was for sale. And it said very cheap because the people that had it couldn't feed it, didn't have the money to feed it. And so we took Debbie over to see it, and it was probably one of the skinniest horses I ever seen. You could tell it was nearly half starved to death, and it was in a little tiny pen with rocks on the ground for it to walk on. And that horse would try to eat those rocks, I guess because she's so hungry. Well, I couldn't handle that, neither could Debbie. And Debbie says, I want this horse. And I thought, well, it's going to take a lot of care for it, but if that's what she wants, and we got a good price on it. And so the only one that didn't have their own horse was Tammy. And, Tammy. And, but anyway, the kids would spend hours. The ranch was big enough that they could ride for, gosh, several hours and not have to go over it twice. I mean, it was just, they could ride it all the way around. Grandma and Grandpa Henriksen built a house on the farm out there, and we got a house trailer so that we could go out there on the weekends and help Grandpa the ranch was so big that not one person could really care for it. So Ray and his dad was always close. I think a little closer than the other. Ace and Lamont, I don't think was as close to their dad as what Ray was. And so Ray liked to go out and he liked to work outside. He just never liked to be inside. But anyway, I can remember one time I even tagged along with him. I had a horse that was named Lady, and I rode her on occasion. And one time we went and we had to cross the Duchesne River, ran right through our property, and it was a pretty good sized river. And anyway, we were out looking for stray cattle that had strayed from us, and Brett crossed that river like a champ. I mean, he was just little, I mean, very small, and he would swing a rope around and say, "Up ho!" And that was getting him across the river and helping gather up the animals. Kids had a lot of fun on the farm, and I was glad that we had it. I think that and giving the kids something to do rather than live in town and just have your little whatever property you had there wasn't much. And I think if kids live out on a farm or a ranch, I think they stay out of trouble. They don't think about trouble. They just think about the fun that they have, and I was always grateful for that. Mike was the comedian of our family. We couldn't take a picture that he wasn't making a face in or doing something silly. And but we all loved Mike so much. He was a good kid. And as was Ray. Ray was very good too. One time Ray and Mike was out with their BB guns hunting on the ranch, and they shot a bird that there's not very many of them. Remember what
Crane.
It was a crane, and a pretty big bird. And when they told their dad wasn't very happy because he was an animal lover, but anyway, the kids was very sorry they did it and said they'd never do it again. And Debbie used to take Tammy down to the old barn that the people had there. It wasn't much, and she'd play down there at times, but they all seemed to enjoy it. And when we moved to Las Vegas, Grandpa and Grandma had moved back to Orem, and because of their health problems, there wasn't any hospital or anything close by, and our ranch was probably 15 miles from any kind of a store at all. But they did have a doctor there, and Grandma had heart trouble, and he suggests that she might need to be closer to medical help. So Grandma and Grandpa moved to Orem, and we put the ranch up for sale. And I kind of hated to lose it. I thought it'd be a nice place to go when we went on vacations and stuff. And then our plans was to move back to Utah. We was just coming up to Las Vegas to do a job. We was doing the federal building, and then we was supposed to go back to Orem after that was finished. I loved Orem, and we we had quite a bit of fun there. There was we used to, along with Ace and Karen and Lamont and Lou and Grandma and Grandpa, we used to go to the canyon quite often and picnic up there, and we would barbecue hot dogs and hamburgers. We always had a watermelon that we put in the put the little river that went through there, and it was always gets so nice and cold because the water, of course, was cold. And the kids really seemed to enjoy our days when we would go to the canyon and just have fun. Ray and Mike, Raymond coached a little league baseball team, and Ray and Mike played on his team along with, enough to make a team. But anyway, Ray was really a good catcher and a pitcher, and I wrote a little poem about Ray's catching. I can't remember it now, but anyway, he got a kick out of it. And we had one little boy on our team that was hiking up Mount Timpanogos with his dad, and he fell off of the embankment, and I forget now how many feet he went, but anyway, it killed him. And our little team was so sad to lose. His name was Doug Nielsen, and they was so sad to lose him on our team. And when he fell, his dad jumped right after, trying to save him, jumped right after he started falling. And but there was nothing he could have done. I mean, it happened too fast. There was a swimming pool, city swimming pool in Orem, and it was called the Sierra Pool, and then they had a movie in the building. They'd play the movie for a week at a time, and Ray went to work, asked him if there's some way that he could get so his kids could go to the movie and go swimming. And so they had Ray work one night a week, and then we was allowed to go to the movies, and the kids could go swimming whenever they wanted. So that made it nice. They did that, and that was fun for them. One Christmas we were kind of didn't have a lot, and we kind of worried that the kids would not think that they got enough or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they never did. Maybe these were my thoughts. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's right after Brett got his pony, Little Ann. And I don't know what Ray had stopped in this saddle shop for, but he did. And there was a little kid's saddle that would have fit Little Ann. And Ray asked him how much it was, and he said $49.50. And we didn't have that kind of money. And Dad says, well, is there anything I can do to work it off? And so the guy let him work it off so we could give Brett the saddle for Christmas. And he was pretty happy with that. Ace and Ray didn't like to go out of town for the work, and they had work in 4 western states. So when we got one of these jobs that was not where you could drive every day, they always gave Ray that assignment. and so Ray would do that. Ray hated to be away from his family. He wanted to be with them every minute. And whenever Ray would have to go out of town like that, we had this big diesel truck that a lot of times Ray had to take material on the job and take it up there. Whenever he took the big diesel truck, it had a sleeper on it so the kids could all sit there, and there was enough room. And anyway, we would travel with Ray, and if it wasn't school time, that would be like either vacation time or summertime. The kids really enjoyed that. They really did. I remember one time the kids had the chicken pox, and we took them, even though they weren't sick with them. They just, you couldn't let around other people, or it was contagious. And so anyway, the kids were complaining, getting hungry, and said they wanted to eat. And I says, well, I don't care. I says, I think we only had one fast food place at that time, and it was called something Spot. I can't remember what it was called. But anyway, you could drive in and you could either eat there or take it home, take it out. And I said, well, I don't want to do a drive-in. I says, can you just find something that's in between that we could take the kids to? And Raymond pulled into a restaurant that didn't look too appetizing, and I said, well, we shouldn't take the kids here to eat, I don't think. And he said, well, I'll try to find another. Well, he found a little other restaurant that was didn't have many people in it and stuff, but Dad pulled in there, and I said, for heaven's sakes, Raymond, we can't take the kids in here, the chicken pox and stuff. I says, people get mad if you did that. And he says, well, do you want me to go back to the other restaurant we seen? And I said, no. I said, that's the dime dinner. I said, no matter what the poor guy said, I don't know if I was on one or what, but the kids laugh all the time when they retell the story. They said that I told him, that's right, Raymond.
We'll just pull right on into that dime dinner.
And finally I told him, I said, just pull in the dime dinner and we'll eat there. But they have a cave in Utah, and a man lived there year-round, and he had no artificial heat, or of course air conditioning was unheard of then, but that cave year-round stayed at the temperature of 72, and it was always very comfortable. And he lived there alone, and he had it really fixed up pretty nice for a home. And but he let people, as they were traveling, it was a spot where you could stop, and he would invite you in, and you could see that. But all the little things the kids got to do in the travels, they really seemed to like. Ray had a job up in Rough Rock, Arizona, and it was an Indian reservation, and all they had there was can't think what they call it.
Trading post.
Yeah, they had a trading post, and that was all they had there. And the kids, they really thought that was neat, and they would go out and look for arrowheads and anything that was useful or whatever. They would go out and look for that stuff. we was there one whole summer, and the kids really seemed to enjoy it.